Genesis 9:13. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. In Genesis 9:13, God says, I do set my bow in the cloud, a reminder of his promise. And this comes right after the story of Noah, which is a story of great wickedness and great loss. The flood brings total destruction, but Noah is safely brought through it. And in the middle of all that, God makes a way for life to continue. And then he sets his bow in the sky, which is interesting because a bow is something that can be used for harm, but now placed above the earth and set down. So a sign of peace and a promise. And as I've been thinking about that, I keep coming back to this image. A rainbow kind of looks like a bridge, right? It stretches from one side to the other, kind of like a path through the sky. And it makes me think, just like God made a way for Noah to come through the flood, he makes a way for us too. A way through the hard things, through sin, through places that feel broken. A promise that we're not left on one side of it. Grab your supplies and let's get started. Hello there, friends. Our tutorial today is actually going to be really quick. I do want to point out that you're going to want a couple of paper towels. We're going to be using one for lifting and then another one for blending. So just have a couple handy. And then you're also going to want a larger brush. If you have one, this one's a 3/4 inch. You could do something a little bit bigger too if you wanted, but we're going to be wanting to do this quickly. That's why we want a bigger brush. And you're also going to notice that you're going to want your paper taped down. I'm going to do that too really quick. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and warm up here on my scripture page. And I think I'm just going to go with blue. So if you are new here, thank you for joining me. This is really fun. I have so much enjoyed seeing all of your beautiful art and for your kind words, and just knowing that there's other people doing these with me it just warms my little soul. So if you are new here, I am painting with a very light wash, meaning that I'm using more water, less paint. That way it's more transparent and you can then read the scripture that's underneath. I do use a waterproof pen, so that's really important so that it doesn't smudge. You can grab the links to everything I use in the description if you're ever curious, as well as a link to sign up for the email that goes out. If you sign up for the email, you get the lessons before anyone else, and then you also get a printable with the scripture in case you don't have time to write it out. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick dry and tape it off, and then we will get started. All right, so let me just talk you through this really fast. I've got the colors of the rainbow, and I kind of cheated because I didn't do indigo. You can if you want, but I just stuck with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, violet. But you can mix this up how you like. I thought that it would be fun to paint this as the sky it's like a rainbow sky instead of a literal rainbow. And you can, again, like I said, mix this up how you like. We do need to move quickly because we're going to be lifting the clouds. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get my colors ready. So I'm just spraying them on the side here. And you can also change up, if you want yours to be a little bit more bright, use the brighter reds. In this case, I ended up using pink because I love that. So you can totally go off script. And the other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your brush is pretty clean at this point, because we are going to paint with water first, And we don't want, you know, dirty water for this, because if it's tinted a certain color, then it'll change your paint when you put it down. Okay. So I am painting with water. I'm going up and down. And then I'm also going to go side to side. So I really want my paper to be nice and shiny, but not big puddles. I do want to make sure that my paper is wet. So I'm going to go over it just one more time, because I want the color to really blend nicely. So once I have that color down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start at the top. Oh, I got a little bit of, looks like eraser or something on here. Okay, there we go. And I am going to just add my paint, and I'm starting with the pink, and just bring it down however far you want. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush, wipe it on my paper towel. Then I'm going to go orange. I'm going to put it right up next to that pink. Maybe overlap just a bit. Clean my brush. Wipe it on my paper towel. Again, trying to move quickly. Add my yellow. And I'm also introducing a bit more water in my brush. I'm trying to keep that paper, like I said, pretty wet. Clean my brush. Now I'm going to grab my green. I can't remember which green I grabbed. That's good. And they don't have to be like perfect lines of color. Okay. Clean my brush. I feel like my paper might be getting a little bit dry, so I just add a bit more water here. Just a bit. Okay. Grab some blue. Ooh, it's really vibrant there. I see some of my color creeping up here, but it is fine. Clean my brush and grabbing my violet for the bottom. Okay, this is where you do need a cleanish paper towel. Okay, I'm cleaning my brush pretty well in my jar here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is my brush is a little wet, not much, and I'm just going to blend this orange into this pink by doing, I'm going back and forth, I'm sweeping, but I'm not pushing really hard. Okay. Just kind of like that. I have some puddles down here, so I'm just going to clean those up. Again, we're doing kind of a light pressure on there. Do you see a puddle here? I can pick that up. Okay. Now paper still needs to be wet for this to work. Take my paper towel, kind of turn it into like a soft point. And now we're going to lift some cloud shapes up. And I especially like to break up like these lines here. And the other reason why you want a new paper towel for this is if I try to lift with this part over here, I'm going to end up putting some of that orange into my cloud shape. And I'm trying not to do that. I kind of did that over here. Lesson learned. Okay, and you can do some smaller ones, a few bigger ones, and I'm just kind of tapping out these cloud shapes. Okay, if you push harder, you're going to lift more And so it'll give you like a bit of a firmer shape. And if you just tap a little, it'll give you more of a wispy cloud shape. So I'm trying to do some on the left, some on the right. They can overlap a bit. You know, it's up to you. Might lift a bit more, maybe like a little baby cloud right here. But yeah, isn't that the simplest thing ever? It's quite simple. I do see I have a puddle here. Again, going to a clean spot, clean paper towel spot. Okay, now I'm just gonna give this a quick dry. All right, now that it's dry, I can very carefully peel the tape off, which is always very satisfying. Quick tip, instead of pulling straight down, kind of pull down and at an angle, and that will hopefully prevent paper ripping, but you know, sometimes it still rips. Wow, this is coming off super quick. There you have it. It's a quick one today, but I thought it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. As we painted today, you probably noticed that we didn't paint a traditional rainbow, and that was on purpose. I wanted to capture another idea, that God's promises don't just show up in one moment or one part of our lives, but that they surround everything, like a sky filled with color, covering both the big things and the small everyday moments too. Sometimes we might think of God's promises as something we need in the biggest, hardest times, like the floods in our lives. I know I do this all the time, but something I'm trying to remind myself is that maybe they're just as present in the quiet, ordinary moments as well. A reminder that God's promise isn't far away. It's something that we're already living within every day. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. I'll see you next time.